Hello friends, thanks for joining us for the Conversations with the Feathered Serpent. I am your host Kat, and this is our introductory video to the channel. I thought we'd talk about what the channel intends for it to be and a little bit about myself as well. So we created this channel to get the messages out about the content, mostly from my conversations with the Feathered Serpent. This is information that goes far beyond our limited programming and belief systems about what we've been taught about what the universe truly is and how it actually works, both with real physics and universal laws and such. Once you understand this information, it truly opens up your world and how you experience your life and how everything around you is affected, as everything is vibration and energy. So we touch on almost any subject matter you can think of. There will be no question that goes unanswered. And I don't know, I'm just super excited for you guys to hear from the Feathered Serpent and everything he has got to share with us. So why me? Who am I? How did I come to meet the Feathered Serpent? He wanted me to explain a little bit about that as well. Basically, I come from a traditional family. My folks are still married after 57 years. I was born the eldest of 3 girls, and I do believe that birth order shapes who we are and our roles and how we show up in life. I do think there's something to that. Being the eldest, you know, I was given more responsibility, I was disciplined more, and I broke a lot of the barriers, right, for my sisters and for our family even. I think I'm a black sheep. I totally have that sense, that feeling, and that explains a lot about my path and my experiences. So I always remember being sensitive to energy as a young child. A lot of things that I experienced I didn't understand, and quite frankly I was afraid of. I would later learn that I was an empath. So that meant that I took on emotional states of those around me. Even like later in life, I would actually feel people's physical things within themselves. I would actually pick up physically as well. And you know, being an empath and not understanding that the stuff that you're picking up on isn't even yours is really hard to fathom and to process. And I actually didn't have a very clear self-image or understood who I was till much later, when I started to realize that that's what was happening. And I could learn how to shield myself. I had all kinds of experiences with that, like being sensitive to energy. I would have vivid dreams. In particular, it's probably around 6 or 7. I remember trying to fall asleep at night, and I would actually see the cosmos out in front of me, like just the whole universe. It was really hard to fathom actually, but I did, I saw it. And at the same time, I had this knowing, this clear knowing, and a lot in my lifetime, I would experience this. It's called clear cognizance, when you just have these knowings, but you have like psychic knowings, I guess, but you don't really understand or know how you know, you just know. So I definitely had these experiences in my life, and when I was like 6 or 7 and I would see the cosmos, I knew that the whole universe was based on math. Like, I'm 6, like what? You know? But yeah, and numbers. And I would see numbers like almost in code form, kind of like how the Matrix displays them. Yeah, I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm a kid and this is happening to me. So I would get my mom to come and stay with me until I fell asleep. I'd also be woken up at night by having something touch me on the shoulder and like kind of poke me awake. But of course I was too scared to turn over and see what it was. Yeah, I don't know. I had quite a few experiences when I look back, and it scared me a lot, and I blocked them. I was also religious. From a young age, I learned about a connection to my creator, to God. And I mean, that was great because it opened up the possibility for that, for me. Like, I understood what that meant. I would go through 7 different religions trying to figure out which one I most resonated with, because they were all missing something. And I soon discovered that what they all missed, what they all lacked in their teachings, was a fundamental truth that God is not separate from us. They teach separation because it's easier to control. And so once I realized that this is the core of who we are and that nothing could separate us from our Creator, and we don't have to do anything or be a certain way in order to deserve this connection, it just is, then I kind of diverted off the religious path and learned more about spirituality and quantum physics and, things that rang more true to me. So I started opening again to that connection that I had closed off earlier, and started having a lot more experience with spirit and connection to the divine, understanding that we have spiritual support with us at all times and we only need ask for its help and guidance. So I connected with the archangels and relied on their help a lot for many, many years. I started to learn about the law of attraction the more I knew and understood quantum physics, so that, I went from this victim mentality to an empowered creator mentality, and that I was truly responsible for everything that showed up in my life. So, game changer, right? I started to believe that there was no such thing as luck and coincidence, and that there was only synchronicity and things that aligned with what vibrationally you were putting out. And these things are all important for the path I now find myself on with the Feathered Serpent. Things like understanding energy, understanding vibration, understanding how we've been programmed and how we have all this limited belief thinking, and how everything is based on fear. It's much easier to control the masses when they are afraid. So really taking that power back and becoming empowered again, I just wanted to share that with as many people as I could. And so I started learning hands-on healing, working with that energy and helping others, and getting this awareness out was also really important to me. I studied Master Usui Reiki, quantum touch. I had a quantum biofeedback device. I really dived in, and I just wanted people to become empowered, and that they could change anything they didn't want in their life, and they could help others, and that everything in our environment, including plants and animals, all respond to this energy and this energy field, our energy fields too. So I was on this path. I started manifesting things. People were kind of like, how are you doing this? I would change the weather, stuff like this, truly, truly incredible, wonderful things. And so I started teaching it, started hosting retreats and events, and I published an alternative health magazine just to get the word out. I taught myself a lot as an entrepreneur. I just decided on something and I went for it, even though I didn't know how. But I had faith, and faith comes from testing and discovering that what you're testing is true. And it's like A plus B equals C. It's you can count on the results because you apply a certain formula that aligns with how it is, right? So the stronger my faith grew, the greater risks I began to take and really had fun with. I finally attracted my husband. I'd been single for many years and went through a lot of different relationships to learn what I had to learn to really focus in on what I actually wanted. And after being a single mom for 15 years, I found my husband, and we got married on my parents' property that I've been coming to for 35 years. It's in a special place. It's in our sanctuary. I've definitely come home a few times throughout my life. It's surrounded by, trees and natural lakes, and the energy is just incredible. And I always knew I wanted to come back and live in the area. I just didn't know how because of various reasons. So when we got married, my husband knew that eventually we would come back to this area. That was okay, that was cool, whatever. I didn't think it would happen as quickly as it did, but the universe had other plans. So one summer, we came out to the area again to visit, and we were only out for a week. And I had been wondering, I kind of put it out there before we arrived, and especially when we first got here again, that I just wish we could live here. It's just so perfect. But I didn't know how. But I just kind of thought of different ideas. I thought of staying on someone's property and taking care of it for them while they went away, or I didn't know. I just was like, who knows? Who knows? But I thought about it. I had some real intense emotion with it, and then I just let it go. When we were out here, my sister's boyfriend was doing some work for this guy, and he said to me, he's like, Kat, you've got to meet this guy. Like, not only does he have work that you guys could align with, but he's so intriguing. And like, I just think you hit it off and you just have to meet him. And I'm like, okay, well, we're only here for a week, so let's try to make it happen. It worked out that we could meet him, and we went. He's about an hour away from my parents' property. So we went out there, and immediately I just felt this connection. Him and I sat down and talked for like probably 6 hours while my husband and his business partner kind of walked the gardens and stuff. But the Feathered Serpent and I, we connected, and it was really cool. It was really cool. I mean, I literally saw the area behind him like blur and like sway. And he was looking at me as I'm looking behind him going, wow, this is cool. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, we could go into another dimension here and time would just stand still, but it would be dark out when we were done, kind of thing. Anyway, towards the end of our conversation, he invited my husband and I to join them in something else they were working on called the Harmony Projects, which we will definitely go into on this channel. It's so aligned with what I felt my purpose was. And to top it off, he offered us some land, like some of his property, to stay on as we worked on this project together. So when we left that meeting, my husband and I were just blown away. We were just like, what just happened? Like, are you kidding me? What does happen when the universe provides you an answer to your dream, your prayers, but it's just not on your timing or how you thought it would show up? What do you do with that? I mean, it was so obvious, and I had been used to taking risks for most of my life, but my husband wasn't. But he knew the opportunity that laid ahead of us, and he trusted me. We decided to go for it. Within months, we packed up our home, we got rid of a lot of things, we made some pretty big risks, decisions, and we moved 7 hours to the area that I love, and we knew eventually we would end up at. And the experience we've had while we stayed there was very unique. It was healing, it was raw, and too perfect, to be honest with you. And when I say perfect, it doesn't mean that it was all roses and butterflies and rainbows and all that stuff. I mean, but it was perfect. We're figuring it out. We're on this path now, and our lives will never be the same. Thank God. We wanted to create Conversations with a Feathered Serpent channel because the information he has, the world needs to know again. And you'll understand what that means when you listen to these conversations. So the world is changing, and we have to change too. Stay tuned and find out how you can be a part of this journey along with myself, and let's build this community.